Hey y'all, it's Andrea here at VW Family Farm, and we are still in the middle of doing hay. So the last video you saw, we were trying to get all our hay cut. It wound up being about 50 acres that was ready that we needed to cut and then rake and bale right now. And then we have about 30 more acres to cut before we have the whole first cutting done. But those fields are nowhere near ready. Not sure yet what we're gonna do there. And then we're going to move some cows around and put them on some spots where we just cut here in about a month. We're going to let it grow up for about a month and then move some cows around. So our second cutting, which will probably happen late July, I'm guessing, something like that, we'll have to cut about 70 acres then too. And we're hoping to get enough hay through all this to take us through the winter with our cows. When we work cows in June, and then we'll work them again in July to vaccinate calves that will be sold in the fall. We're actually going to cull some cows out too, because if y'all remember, if you haven't watched our video about us buying the whole herd of cows back in late winter, I'll have Lane link that somewhere up here. But we bought a whole herd of beef cows, and we already had a herd of beef cows. So right now we have about 150 head of cattle, and that includes cows, calves, milk cows, bulls, steers, upcoming heifers for my milk herd, everything. But what we'd like to do, beef mamas, we have 76 I believe right now, which 2 belong to Lane and Emily. They both bought their own cow, and so they belong to them. So Ben and I actually have 74, and we'd like to actually cull about 24 because within that herd we bought, we have some pretty old cows, some that have some hoof problems and stuff, which tells us they're pretty old. So we'd like to cull some of them out and maybe keep our best 50 to take through the winter and see how much hay that takes, because to be honest, y'all, we've never fed this many cows through the whole winter, because this last year we fed them through the last month of winter. We fed our cows that we'd already had, we've had them for years, but to feed this many, we used 100 bales of hay in the last month of winter. So we won't have that much hay. So we're going to reduce the size just a little bit for this next year and just do some documenting, record keeping, seeing how much hay that takes. So we're shooting to try to get 2 to 250 bales for 50 cows. So I'm about to ride back there. Ben and Lane, Lane's raking, Ben's baling. I've been back there raking, and Lane took a turn. I'm gonna go see the status and show y'all around, show you the cows on the way back there. So let's go. All right, I'm on my way back to check on the boys, but I just noticed something and wanted to stop and show y'all. This is the benefits of rotational grazing. Any animal that you possibly can that eats grass, like sheep, goats, especially cows, all that kind of stuff. You can see behind me, this right here has not been grazed in about a month, 30 to 40 days. 40 is our goal, because this field is about 120 acres. We try to do 3-acre paddocks. So, I mean, you can do the math, that's 40 of them. So it makes it about 40 days before they rotate back to an area, any given area. I think the goal, like the absolute perfect goal, might be like 39 days or something like that. So we're right there at it. You can see over here, this is where they just moved through. I mean, they're literally right back there in the shade. So you can see they ate it down. They actually ate it down more than we wanted. We want to leave, you know, a good little amount of grass when we move them off a paddock. That's part of the goal too, to just, that plays into the science of the grass recovering more quickly and keeping it up higher to where, because if you look closely at some of our fields, we have some thistles and things, and last year a pasture we overgrazed got overtaken in like goat weed, which is basically useless around here. Animals will not eat it. So that's the point in, I just told you earlier, we're trying to get all this hay cut because some of the fields are just too tall. And when the cows rotate back up that way, that's our house and our corral, we're gonna work cows and take some to some of those fields we're cutting right now in a couple weeks, because we just have so much grass this year. It's a blessing, but some years you don't have enough grass, so you wind up having to sell cows. That was last year. And then some years like this, you have more grass than you know what to do with. So it's a blessing, yes, but you can't, honestly, you can't go buy a bunch more cows on a year like this and expect to have this next year, because you probably won't. That's just Arkansas weather. That's just weather in general, right? So anyway, let's head back there where the boys are. I don't know if y'all can see them, but there's part of the cows. They got their bellies full, chewing their cud, hanging out in the shade. I guarantee you, all those woods over there are full of cows and calves, lounging in the heat of the day. I love this spot on our farm. Sorry this is bumpy, but I just wanted to bring y'all along to kind of see what I'm seeing. It's a little spot through the woods. Sorry it's bumpy. I have to watch for snakes too, because it is summer in the south. And then you come up to this pretty little creek, which I just have to brag on myself just for a second, so humor me. Yesterday, when everything was breaking and we were trying to mow hay, Ben said, I'm never gonna be able to get the baler across those creeks. You gotta take the tractor and the little box blade and drag rocks and make me a drive. So I don't know if y'all can see it, but I drug those rocks by myself. I'm so proud of myself when I can do something. At first, actually, when he said it, I said, I can't do that. I've never done that before. He said, I've got full confidence you can do that. You can do it. So he just sent me back here and I actually did it. I was so proud of myself. And we got the equipment across it. All was fixed. Someone just recently said to us, you know, there's something about all this farming and all this that y'all do that y'all like and find pleasure in, or else you wouldn't keep doing it with everything that goes wrong and breaks and all that. So I've been thinking, what is it that we like about this? Because it does seem like stuff breaks, goes wrong. Oh, there's all kinds of stuff. Y'all know, it happens to y'all too, I know. You go to do something and you wind up finding the one weak piece of the machinery or whatever it might be. I'm just gonna be real with y'all. We've had so much rain. We've got limping sheep and goats right now. I've been working on hooves and all that kind of stuff. Not check engine, but the high temp light on our little mule, our side by side, has been coming on. The clutch is going out in our little tractor. Ben just called and said the baler is not cutting the string, so he's having to get off every bale he makes and cut the string by hand. Y'all know it is something all the time, and I say it jokingly because at this point I just pray, Lord, help me to accept these things, because I can't do anything about them. So I can either choose to stress over all these things, or I can just go with the flow. And I'm trying to do that, because really there's no other choice. I mean, stressing does nothing but make me stressed. It doesn't fix the tractor. It doesn't fix the mule. If I get down or angry, or I'm just become a negative person and bitter and like, oh, poor me, I'm this, I have this, I'm that, whatever, this is all going wrong. All that does, it seems to me, is just turn people off. I mean, it doesn't help the situation. So I'm telling myself all these things to try to stay positive and just go with the flow. So that's just how it is. So I was thinking all these things, long story short, about why do we do all this? Why don't we just go get us a ski boat and go sit on the lake? Because you know what? I don't know if y'all know our whole story, but when Ben's grandpa died, he had a few cows, and we took care of, he had some goats and chickens, and we've had different animals of our own throughout our marriage too. But just slowly we sold those things off until all we had left was a few cows, and we were like, you know what? Let's get a boat and let's forget all this. Our kids are little. We can do all this later. Let's have fun right now. And so we did that for a few years. In the summers, we went to the lake. That's what we did. But something drew us back to this life, and we don't have the boat anymore. We have a fishing boat, but we don't spend every weekend at the lake. I guess the conclusion I've come to is, at the end of the day, we do this because we love it. We do this because the sense of accomplishment it brings us to get out here and do something like this, even when the mower breaks and the baler's broke and the mule breaks down. But you know what, at the end of the day, when we figure out a way, we're limping that tractor along with the clutch going out. We're just having to go slow going uphill. He's having to get off and cut the hay strings. But you know what, at the end of the day, when we get a job done and our families come together and work together and we've spent time together and we've got the hay put up for the winter and the gardens are grown and all that. So if you're like us and things have just not been going your way lately, you're trying to get the things done that need to happen this time of year, and it feels like everything's just breaking, because that's what we feel like. We feel like we touch something and it breaks. Hang in there. It happens to everyone every so often. If you have equipment, you're gonna have breakdowns, I guarantee you. You better just start getting good at fixing things. So, I didn't mean this video to be negative at all. I mean it to be encouraging, that if things don't go your way, hang in there, because you may fix that problem and go on to be able to finish the job. The day we broke the mower, like 2 different times when we wrapped up the last video, we were pretty beat and pretty much like, what in the world are we doing? We can't do all this while you have a full-time job, and just all those things are going through our head. But you know what? The sun rose another day and we were able to get all the hay cut, and now here we are on the way to baling it, and we'll get it done again in a couple months. It's all gonna get done. It just may not be on our exact timetable, but that's okay. Maybe it's a better timetable. I'm gonna leave you with some images. Here comes my farmhand. He's got the raking done on this field. At least we're off to a good start, right?
Well, I can't.
We off to a good start?
Yeah, I can't hear a thing.
You've been raking this whole time?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna leave you with some footage of Ben baling, and we will catch you guys probably tomorrow. Thanks and God bless. Say bye.
Bye.